That was our biggest thing. Get a stop. Let's get a stop, get a score, and get another stop right again. And let's keep it going that way. I thought we did a great job of getting stops on the defense end, and sure enough, the tiny guy over there, he got it done. He got it done for us in the fourth. I'd be shocked if he wasn't in the All-Star game.
I mean, why do you feel like he should be?
Because this guy averages 20 and 70. He's 5'2". Why not put somebody like that in the All-Star game?
Welcome back to part 2, the Tyler Zeller version of the Garden Report. So we'll do it quickly. But Tyler Zeller, Jimmy, actually got in the game tonight. And while he struggled at first, his second stint in the second half went pretty well. He hit that jumper, which apparently the entire coaching staff was really happy for him to actually happen. And he made some good plays, on both ends, really.
3 for 6, which you'll take. 50% from the field, 4 rebounds. We talked about it a little bit in the first video. Without Johnson tonight, they needed some size down low. I'm fairly confident in saying that if Johnson was playing in this game, I don't know if we would have seen Zeller in it. No. But it says a lot about him that he's ready to play when called upon, and it's good. It's good for him that at least he's getting time here and there, which is more than what we can say for another free agent to be David Lee, who is completely out of the rotation for many reasons that Kevin could probably get into for a while, but we won't get into it.
No, not
but
tonight.
It was not tonight. But it was a nice little game for Zeller, and I think good for his confidence. I mean, if the more and more you sit on the bench, I think, it obviously takes a toll on you. I think it's good just to get some burn in there, and I thought he was serviceable in his time in there.
Yeah, you're going to feel a little bit bad for Zeller in a way. I mean, it's not like he suddenly got worse. He played 82 pretty good games last year for the Celtics. Career year, comes into this season, free agent to be, maybe sign a 4-year, $40 million contract, and then you're not playing all of a sudden.
Right.
It's not like he sucks now. It's just he's not getting the opportunity. And like you said, Jimmy, he came in here tonight and he did a solid job. And I think if you're Brad Stevens, that gives you confidence going forward. If Amir misses more games, whether it's due to injury or personal reasons like it was tonight, Zeller's just a serviceable guy.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of, his first 2 years in Cleveland, he had a great rookie season, and then his second year, he kind of fell out of the favor of the coaching staff, and he just kind of fell out of the rotation a little bit, or he took a serious step back, and that's one of the reasons why they were okay with trading him to Boston. And now it seems like it's kind of like a pattern here where it's the same situation.
It makes me think about what Danny Ainge said on Toucher and Rich Thursday. He was asked about Kelly Olynyk early in the season with all the big men playing, and he mentioned how it was hard to develop a rhythm for Kelly. And then he went on to say, and for the other bigs on the team, whether it's Lee. But that also goes for Zeller. I mean, he's been rusty when he's been given opportunities. When last year he finished at a super high rate near the rim. He's missing these little flip shots that he normally would sink last year. And I think that's partially due to rust. So maybe he's a guy like with Cleveland. He didn't get the opportunity in his second year. And this year he's not getting it. Maybe he's someone who needs consistent minutes, consistent role.
The only guys that sit on the end of the benches and don't play that are able to get out there and be impactful usually are either gunners, that are guys that are just ready to score whenever, and then on-ball defenders. And that's Tyler Zeller's not one of those kind of guys. He's a help guy. He's a pick-and-roll guy that tries to just kind of drag in space, stuff like that. So he goes out there, and to be effective, he's just trying to pull in defenses to get open shots for guys, stuff like that. He'll get a pass once in a while and try to finish. He was solid tonight. But it's like really hard to judge whether or not he's effective based on playing 8 minutes once every 3 games. I feel terrible for the guy. I think he still can be a valuable starting center on a team that has another good post player, or a valuable rotation backup center for another team. He's just behind a bunch of other solid players. And Kelly Olynyk was a guy that he was kind of pushing to the side a little bit for a little while, but Olynyk now is an elite 3-point shooter, which we have to keep saying out loud because statistically it's actually true.
Send Kelly Olynyk to Toronto for the 3-point contest.
Oh, yeah. He's up for it. He wants it. He said pregame he wants to do it. Yeah.
I mean, get to go home, and you're playing in front of the limelight with the best players in the NBA. Yeah. Why wouldn't you want that?
All right, let's quickly drool over Jimmy Butler because I think he certainly earned it tonight. He had like a 20 and 13 game, like barely into the third quarter. It looked like he had a chance to go for 20 and 20 tonight. Didn't grab any more rebounds, but he continued to be a pretty much unstoppable player this entire game. He was drawing fouls late in the game, trying to get the team back into it, and obviously the Celtics defense really stepped up there in the fourth quarter. And for anyone that wants to say that Jay Crowder was sick and that's why Butler did so well, it turns out Butler was also really sick too and barely even made it through the game as well. So it was a very rare sick-on-sick action, I guess, tonight. But Jimmy, what was so sick about Jimmy Butler?
I mean, if you watch Butler this season or last season, I thought aside from the spike in rebounds, that was a Butler game. I mean, he's a guy that he doesn't give up on the defensive end. I mean, he was known as a defensive guy first. The more and more he plays, he's becoming more an offensive-minded player. I'm not offensive-minded, but he's just becoming a more polished offensive scorer. Exactly. But he's a guy who gives it his all on both ends of the court. He can score from all over, outside, driving to the hoop. He's so strong, and I think whether or not he is this yet, he's going to have to be, which is a leader. And with Joakim Noah for this Bulls team, I see a team that's kind of looking for a little bit of an identity right now. They've obviously been struggling, and a lot of questions after the game tonight where you guys, they're basically asking them, you guys feel like you're soft? And that looks bad for guys like Butler and Rose, who are supposed to lead this team, and they're thought of to be a contender in the East. So as good as Butler played tonight, he's going to have to take on even more of a leadership role with this team, I think.
And just quickly, their response to that soft question was basically, we're not soft because who says we're soft except for someone that really wants to send a message. But they all kind of agree that they were playing like crap and that they were blowing it and they weren't being the tough team that Tom Thibodeau made them be.
Yeah, I mean, with Jimmy Butler, in terms of him being a leader, I think he's a guy, he sets goals and he reaches them. I mean, he's done that continuously going back to Marquette, now with Chicago. I wouldn't put him against him to eventually become a leader for this team. So it might not happen this year, but maybe next year. I think Jimmy Butler, he's just a guy who succeeds. When he has his eyes set on certain goals, he grabs it.
And I think it's becoming his team. Derek, it used to be maybe more of a Derrick Rose team. Now it's becoming, I think, more of a Jimmy Butler team.
Plus, Noah's a free agent this summer, and I don't know if they'll re-sign him.
That might be it for him.
Yeah. Well, Danny Ainge would definitely offer every single draft pick he has for Jimmy Butler.
Would have been nice to have all those Marquette
You want a guy that's worth
guys.
4 draft picks? That's him, not Justice Winslow.
Winter Jonas is coming in.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So
the Bulls have to go to Cleveland
now
and play LeBron. If they don't have to worry about Winter Storm Jonas, but the Celtics do.
So they're heading down to Philly, we hope. But
yeah, we hope.
But speaking of Jonas,
there's a very interesting.
What did he do tonight? What did Jonas do tonight? Actually?
Jonas was 2 for 2 with 5 points, but
he made some great plays in the second quarter.
There's a very interesting statistical oddity with Jonas Jerebko.
Oh, you have his stat?
He's shooting 43.5% from 3 this year on 64 attempts. Pretty good, right?
Good, yeah.
That is pretty good.
But he's shooting worse from within 8 feet of the rim. 41.5% on 65 field goal attempts.
No love.
He's a better three-point shooter than he is a scorer near the rim. And I know that's not surprising, but at the same time, that's really bad near the rim. He's missing a lot of easy shots. That's probably, I think, 12% worse than probably the league average. But he's a knockdown three-point shooter.
What can you attribute that to? Is that unlucky? Is that just unlucky bounces, or is he just getting bodied down low?
Isn't that kind of like an ironic example of the inversion of the modern big man, where big men are being pushed so much to be three-point shooters that they can't even score at the rim anymore? So Jonas Jerebko is like the get off my lawn example of why you shouldn't be pushing big men to the three-point line. So Jonas, good luck.
Yeah, kids.
If you want to practice making layups, I'd be happy to play defense on you. It should be pretty easy. I'm only 6 feet tall.
Good stat. I had no idea you were coming.
That was pretty great. That's pretty great. All right, so we're gonna end on that one.
I like Jonas,
Kevin.
though. I love you, Jonas. Don't worry. You do it all.
All right, well, Kevin,
Swedish Larry Bird.
Jimmy, and Jared
it's
all
true.
love the Swedish Larry Bird. So we'll see you next time on the Guard Report.
For us, it's more. I think the same factor about the consistency that we're lacking on. But we got to play the same way for 48 minutes, and I think when we've done that, we've been really successful. When we haven't, and for the most part, it's always been towards the beginning of the game. We have paid the price and the consequences.
Especially coming out the gate, so that's on our starters, man. We be thinking ourselves a huge hole a lot of these games because we know how talented we are, how well we can score the ball. But defense is all about grit, the will, and want to do something. I don't feel like we want to do so right now.
I believe so. And that's one of the reasons why we're one of the top teams in the East. We know that we could win games. It's all about just making sure everyone's on the same page. And this is something we've been saying all the way from the beginning.